Two executive members are seeking the CAP presidency, and they are Jill Verwey and Jake Eyre. Nominators will be given an opportunity to speak for 2 minutes in support of their nominee, and then nominees will be entitled to speak for 5 minutes in support of their candidacy. May I have the first nominator to come and speak on behalf of their candidate?
Jake told me 3 minutes, so I'm going to have to lean this down a little bit. Hi, I'm Colin Penner, and I've known Jake for the better part of a decade now. I've always been impressed with his professionalism and his leadership qualities. I had the task, well, maybe the pleasure of being Jake's farm management instructor while at the U of M. It's been impressive to see how his classmates looked at him for leadership and the mutual respect between Jake and the staff at the university. As a student, Jake wouldn't hesitate to reach out or come visit me in my office if he had questions or concerns. There were times when he came to my class and my office with concerns on behalf of his classmates. It was quite admirable. I've also had the pleasure of co-chairing Manitoba Young Farmers with Jake. I really appreciate Jake's ability to run an efficient meeting. He allows people to discuss a topic, but is always prepared to keep the meeting rolling so that we stay on task and following the agenda. I'm not sure if you know that Jake's a TV star. If you have a chance, look up the show It's Still Standing. There was an episode in Minto, Manitoba where Jake stars in it. It was great to see someone sharing positivity about agriculture. Jake has the ability to articulate himself well, get his point across, and present farming in a positive light, which has been and will continue to be a benefit for agriculture and Keystone Ag producers. A couple of years ago, Jake approached me about an opportunity that he had to fundraise for Star Air's ambulance. I remember telling him that it would be a lot of work, but I also cautioned him, I told him it would be an amazing experience, but I cautioned him that it would be a lot of work. People are excited about the organization, but they're not as excited to open their wallets. I know that Jake carefully considered what I had to say, and in the end, he set a very lofty fundraising goal and surpassed his target. Jake is very well connected and has the uncanny ability to encourage people to move forward with a plan. I believe that Jake is a farmer to watch. He is a tremendous leader and someone with incredible potential. I believe that he's an excellent choice to lead this organization. Thank you.
Thank you, Colin. I would now ask that the second nominator come forward.
Good morning, everyone. This is almost an historic occasion today because this will be the first presidential election for CAP in almost 30 years. So I think this is a very important time for us. And it is my honor and privilege today to introduce Jill Verwey, who is running to be the next CAP president. Jill should really need no introduction because she is well known by everyone present. But I will provide some brief comments about her experiences and skills that make her an excellent candidate for CAP's next president. Jill and her extended family farm operate in the Portage la Prairie region, producing grains, oilseeds, pulse crops, and forages. They operate a commercial beef cattle herd and a dairy cattle herd. In addition to helping in the management of the farm, Jill has been involved in various community organizations and boards, such as the Portage Hospital Foundation, local co-ops, and recently Western Grains Research Foundation. Jill first became involved with CAP over 8 years ago as a District 6 delegate, then as a District 6 director, and for the last 4 years as a vice president of CAP. At CAP, she has been involved on many committees, ranging from grains and oilseeds to rural policy to the finance committee that she chairs. I have worked with Jill at district meetings, committee meetings, and at the CAP board over the last 8 years. I have found her always open and available to work with and willing to listen to issues and concerns and of those in attendance. She has provided leadership through many discussions and debates which have helped to establish direction for CAP in its day-to-day work and the government lobbying efforts that we do on a regular basis. Her experience on various boards and committees have provided her with a wealth of skills and information which make her an excellent candidate for becoming the next CAP president. These skills will be of great use as CAP approaches its 40th anniversary and the organization renews itself to continue to be relevant and important for the current and future Manitoba farmers. I encourage everyone to vote for Jill. Thank you.
Thank you. Now I will ask that candidate Jake Eyre come up and speak on his behalf.
Good morning, CAP delegates, honored guests, observers, and media members. It is an honor and a privilege to stand up here today and to be considered for the position of president at CAP. First off, I'd like to thank Colin Penner for not only agreeing to speak on my behalf, but for also managing to say some nice words about one of his former students. My name is Jake Eyre, and I am a 7th generation farmer. I hail from Minto, Manitoba. Alongside my parents, Heather and Andrew, sister Caitlin, and an assortment of golden retrievers, we produce pedigree seed, cash crops, and operate a farm retail. I have been involved with CAP as a director on the board since 2019 and vice president since 2020. Aside from CAP and farming, believe it or not, I have a little bit of spare time. I manage to play hockey, enjoy taking out a hike in our beautiful Manitoba wilderness, or reffing. I get asked all the time, Jake, why are you at CAP? Why are you involved with ag policy? And what value does your farm see from being involved? To be quite honest, I'm asking myself that exact same question right now as I stand here in front of all of you to try and convince you why I would make a good next CAP president. The reality of the situation is, from a very young age, it was instilled in both my sister and I to be the change that we wanted to see in the world. Growing up, both of our parents were very involved with our local communities in one way or another. Hall boards, rink boards, council, economic development. These then evolved into provincial and national boards, which they're still a part of today. My parents instilled that speaking up now to help shape decisions, legislation, and policies that were being discussed not only affected your future immediately, but 5, 10, 15 years down the road. When I was in the Ag Diploma program at U of M, our class was invited to speak at the annual meeting and present a resolution, much like the students that are here today. Somewhere along the way, I and 2 of my fellow classmates were voluntold to present our resolution. For our first foray into ag policy, our class could not have chosen a more contentious issue. We chose to draft a resolution on carbon pricing. Can you imagine how that went? The gist of our resolution was, rather than flat out reject the idea of a carbon tax, the importance was to work with government, be at the table for discussion, and to promote the benefits and positive farmers provide to the land and environment. At the meeting, there was a healthy democratic debate on the resolution, to which our class felt that others were attempting to speak for us and represent what we did not view. After sitting and watching the debate, we got up to the microphone and the room fell silent. When we spoke up and rebutted, the meaningful change we were trying to accomplish succeeded. The resolution passed and is part of CAP policy today. So how does any of what I just said relate to why am I involved with CAP and why do I want to be president? My family immigrated to Canada from England for a chance to live the Canadian dream and farm out on the Canadian prairies. As a 7th generation farmer and one that wants to pass it on to the next generation, I'm not only invested in the sustainability and profitability of our farm, but of all of those farms in Manitoba, today, tomorrow, and into the future. Being involved in CAP has shown me that farming truly is no longer about knowing how to operate a tractor or feed a newborn baby lamb. Today, we live and work in an environment where some of the biggest risks and threats to our livelihoods are beyond the farm gate. Government policy, public trust, geopolitical issues, and trade are front and center. However, these are issues that I believe CAP are at the forefront of and are helping to ensure the environment remains prosperous for the sustainability and profitability of Manitoba farmers. With a strong, unified voice, and by continuing to work with and learn from our members, commodity group members, and stakeholders, I truly believe that CAP will be imperative in the future of agriculture now and for years to come. If elected president, it is my commitment to you to not only be engaged and fight for our industry, but to listen, consult, and utilize the relationships we have formed and continue to build on. It is my commitment that with the help and guidance of the board and executive, I will help steer our organization to become more engaged, stronger, and set up for now and the years to come. I believe the best leaders are not the ones who always have an answer or the first one to speak, but rather the ones who know who to get the answer from or have the humility to admit, I don't know. I take this approach to heart and follow it to this day. The strength in our organization doesn't lie from one individual or another, but rather in the collaboration and teamwork from which forms the unified voice that CAP promotes and advocates for. In closing, I would like to thank Jill Verwey for letting her name stand and running for president. To me, an election is exciting, and it shows the commitment and drive that we all have for the commitment to the future of agriculture and CAP. And I'd also like to thank our outgoing president, Bill Campbell, for his many years of dedicated service to CAP and our industry. Bill, your passion and many years of hard work and advocacy for agriculture is extremely admirable and has left a lasting impression on me. I couldn't be more grateful to learn and work alongside you these last years. Thank you, everyone, for your time. Take care.
I would now ask Jill Verwey come forward and speak on behalf of her candidacy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, CAP delegates, members, guests, and the students and other attendees today. I'm honored to be nominated as one of the candidates for the president of CAP, and tongue-tied because it's been a while since I've been up having to speak in public. And thank you, Chuck, for the kind words. My road today begins growing up on a farm north of Neepawa on a mixed farming operation. Working on the family farm, being raised in a rural community, and programs like 4-H instilled core values of family, community, and agriculture. This led me to furthering my education and obtaining a diploma in agriculture at the U of M, and then a career in agriculture and financing. Fast forward today, a mother of 4 grown children, farming alongside my husband, who farms with his 3 brothers, and the 4th generation that is now on our family farm and their families, south of Portage la Prairie. We have 3 sectors, or contribute into 3 sectors of agriculture, having a grain production, commercial beef operation, and dairy operation. These 3 enterprises of our operation work together, enabling our farm to grow and giving our children the opportunity to stay on the farm and to choose agriculture as their career. It is through my education and farming activities of bookkeeping, management, doing some of the financials, that I then became involved in the community, taking the opportunity to be involved in our local co-op board, the hospital board, a local crop research organization, and lastly becoming involved in our district with Keystone Ag Producers and involved in some of the committees. It was through my involvement in those boards that I gained the experience in board governance, working with stakeholders and continually improving communications. With grown children in the last number of years, I've had the time to commit to those organizations. And so in the last 8 years, I have had more time to commit to CAP and have been more active as a board member of our district, and in the last 4 years, or 4.5 years rather, taking an active role as vice president of CAP. This involvement and experiences have enabled me to gain the skills that I feel are needed to fulfill the role of president. Now, 2022, in-person meetings are back. I was excited to get back to face-to-face meetings with producers and stakeholders. Virtual meetings through those 2 years of the pandemic served a purpose and enabled us to stay engaged, but nobody can argue that being in a room, going to Ag Days, having face-to-face meetings has a great importance in transferring dialogue and community. In the past year, I was fortunate to attend a number of commodity member annual meetings again, presenting CAP and their policies, presenting our wins, and also being able to attend a number of the district annual CAP meetings. This ongoing engagement is necessary in order to discuss grassroots issues around the province affecting all producers, and also listening to what's affecting the commodity groups as they are members of our organization. Roles that have prepared me for the position of president include chairing a number of committees, including Finance, Human Resources, the Livestock Committee, and lastly, the Rural Policy Committee. I also represent CAP on cooperators, as well as sitting on the Western Green Research Foundation as a producer, one of actually only 3 from the province of Manitoba that sit on that board. All of these roles have prepared me to represent Manitoba producers. At our recent board meeting yesterday, the board and our staff, and we were met with and had discussions with the Minister of Agriculture, had time to reflect on the many accomplishments for the organization, which has led to wins for Manitoba producers in the last year. Advocating and policy, outreach and engagement, and modernization form the pillars of the direction to meet our vision for CAP. Underlying that is strong board governance. The staff and board are excited moving into 2023 with the development of a strategic plan for the next 5 years, using the roadmap and pillars that were developed. CAP's vision for a sustainable and profitable future for all Manitoba producers is the core or the starting point of this strategic plan that we will be endeavoring on. Leading and building consensus. As a diverse organization which represents all Manitoba producers, having that collaboration of all ag sectors and stakeholders is essential to continue to elevate the importance and the role of agriculture in Manitoba. As producers, looking after our land, caring for our animals, and being efficient ensures that we have the opportunity to pass farming operations on to the next generation. In order for this to be a success, we need strong leaders and organizations like CAP at the table where these policy and regulations are created and developed. These leaders at the table ensure that the interests of us as producers are heard. Lastly, agriculture has faced many challenges over the years. In the future, those challenges will be there, and there'll be new challenges. But I'm excited that the challenges, in my mind, are opportunities. I can only confirm that, and the Minister of Agriculture mentioned it, and so did my counterparts, the success of being back at Ag Days last week. Shoulder to shoulder in that venue, looking at the new innovations, particularly in Barn 4, and some of the things that are out there for us to use. So certainly that shows the importance and the innovation of agriculture and where we're going in the future. Strong voices of our producer organization of CAP ensures that strong policy is in place for the continued growth of the ag sector, which for us as farmers in Manitoba means that it will lead to opportunities for the next generation, our children, new producers, and newcomers to Canada. This will ensure the continued growth of our sector. Thank you again for the opportunity to speak on my candidacy. I'd like to thank Jake, and of course I'd like to thank Bill, and I don't have enough Kleenexes because I'm going to cry again, but Bill has been a mentor. We've been vice president or sat on the executive together for the last 5 years, and truly look to his guidance and direction and passion, and I ask sincerely for your support in electing me as the next president for Keystone Ag Producers. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for those speeches from our two candidates. So now we are going to vote. We have eye clickers for those that are delegates that are eligible to vote. I ask that you please turn on your clicker by turning or pushing the orange power button. At this point, button A represents a vote for Jake Eyre. A for Eyre. I'm not, maybe it doesn't sound quite right, but that's A for Jake Eyre. Sounds better. Button B represents a vote for Jill Verwey. When you are ready, please press button A or button B to cast your vote. A check mark on the iClicker screen means your vote has gone through. Effective. At this point, I would like to announce that Jill Verwey has been elected CAP president for 2023. Congratulations, Jill.